In today's world, when bad things happen to us, we sometimes tend to play the blame game. We say, oh, my parents didn't raise me right. That is why I act like this. Or that's just my personality. That's who I am. I can't change it. Though there are some times where certain events can be validated for those reasons, most times we use it when it is for our own benefit. Taking responsibility is a life skill that is slowly becoming less seen as the years go on. We hear so many excuses like it's always someone else's fault. The world is just against me. But I want to share a story with you that comes from the Bible about a man named Saul and how him disobeying God and not taking responsibility for his own actions led him to being removed as king of Israel. Our story takes place in 1 Samuel chapter 15. There was a prophet by the name of Samuel who had a message from God himself to tell King Saul. Now, if you want to know the backstory of Saul, why Israel had a king, who Samuel was, and the many other questions that you probably have right now, I highly recommend you reading the book of 1 Samuel all the way from its beginning. And honestly, a chapter a day is a good way to start, and it is a very good read, and I know that you will definitely enjoy it. But focusing on chapter 15, we see in the first few verses, Samuel telling King Saul a message that he received from God. Samuel said that God said, oh man, say that 10 times fast. Anyway, the message was that Saul and the Israel army needed to go and destroy their enemies, the Amalekites. And not just a little, oh, go and take over their land. No, I mean completely destroy them, as in leave nothing alive. That meant men, women, their king, even children. None of them could be spared. Now, you may hear that and say, why would a God that loves everyone allow something like that to happen to other people? Well, that is a topic for another video, and honestly, just let me know down in the comments if you want me to make a video on that, and I will explain it to the best of my ability. But as we keep reading, we see that Saul does go and carry out God's instructions, but the mistake that he made was that he carried it out his own way, not the way that God told him to. He not only did not destroy everything, but that he saved their king and saved the best of the cattle and other valuables that he took from their city. This angered God so much that he said in 1 Samuel chapter 1 verse 11, I regret that I have made Saul king because he has turned away from me and has not carried out my instructions. You may be wondering, why would Saul do that? If God told me to do something, I would obey 100% of the time. Really? Would you really? If that's what you say. If that is what you say. So the next morning, Samuel goes out to confront Saul. And Saul is all happy and joyful, like, hey, how you doing, Samuel? You know, it's a great, wonderful day today, right? But little did he know that his whole world was going to change, and not for the better. And when Saul says this, Samuel's like, are you sure? Are you 100% sure that you followed all of God's instructions? Because why am I hearing sheep? Why am I hearing cattle right now? But look at what Saul says in verse 15. Saul answered, the soldiers brought them from the Amalekites. They spared the best of the sheep and cattle to sacrifice to the Lord your God, but we totally destroyed the rest. So Saul was basically saying, I did not bring them. It was the soldiers that brought them, and they brought them to serve the God that you want me to. You see how he's just blaming everyone else, but does not include himself in the equation? He even goes as far as blaming a messenger of God. That is honestly just insane to me. But Samuel counters Saul's words and he says, why did you not obey the Lord? But Saul still wants to defend his actions. He still wants to defend himself. And he says that he technically did obey God. But that again, it was the soldiers that brought the animals to serve your God. And I honestly will not lie to you, it low-key seems as if he is trying to blame God for all this, which is definitely not a good idea. But Samuel says something that is very important, and I want you to apply it to your life as well. In verse 22, it says, "To obey is better than sacrifice." You can have the best intentions in the world. You can have such a great idea that you think will impact so many people and make their lives for the better. But if you do it and it is against God's will and it is against his word as well, that is still disobedience and that is still sin. And Samuel tells him, because you have rejected God's word, God has rejected you as king and you will be replaced. But the crazy thing to me is that when Saul hears this, that is when he truly realizes how serious the situation is. And that is exactly when his excuses start pouring in. He starts saying things like, "Oh, I've sinned, I've sinned, I've sinned. I violated God's commandments. I did it because I was scared and I gave in to them because I didn't know what they would do to me if I refused. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." That's all he kept doing. But by the time he was saying all this, it was already too late. God had taken the kingdom from Saul and would replace him with someone that was greater and mightier than him. And to find out who he was replaced by, you need, and I'm telling you, you need to read the rest of 1 Samuel after chapter 15, because honestly, you will definitely recognize who it is. And his story is an amazing one to read as well. So, what have we learned? Just from the story of Saul, we see that problems start with disobedience of God or of the person that has told you instructions that you need to follow. Then comes the excuses and the blaming of others for the choices that you, yes, you, made. It shouldn't take you going through the consequences of your actions to realize how truly wrong you were. So let's not be like Saul. First, realize that you have done wrong. Second, you need to acknowledge it. Third, you need to ask for forgiveness. And fourth, try not to make that mistake again. When you do these things, you are not only obeying God, but people will respect you so much more. All right? I will see you tomorrow, God willing, in the next video. But focusing on chapter 15, in the first few verses. Oh my days. I cannot talk. What in the world is going on? Anyway, okay. Lock it.